Today's intent was about 17 minutes for 17 students in Parkland in terms of the national walkout. And we know there's more politically inclined events coming up. And so we decided we wanted to focus on kind of that memorial perspective and recognizing the emotion of the violence. And so the kids and I have been working for a little over 2 weeks, and here we are.
We stand with our peers in Parkland, Florida, and say, never again, not one more, and enough. We need to address school safety, support for teachers, not asking them to carry guns, and increase access to mental health services. My name is Emily Bravo. I am a sophomore at Taos High School.
I'm Josh Adams, a senior at Taos Academy. We're trying to keep our schools safe because, like she said, education is a place for learning and not a place to be scared.
So I'm Dylan Klein. I go to UNM. I'm here because I have grown tired of waking up in the morning and seeing that there has been yet another mass shooting. This most horrific act of violence has become normalized in our culture. It needs to end.
I'm Sydney Klein, and I'm a freshman at Taos Academy, and I'm tired of going to school with my peers not being able to trust the community and being terrified and feeling unsafe of how the day could potentially end.
Thank you, Josh. So I'm here today as a teacher. The students have asked me to give the teacher's perspective about this problem. I can't speak on behalf of all teachers, but many feel the same way that I do. And first of all, I would like to say that we are incredibly proud of our youth for using your voice and speaking up about feeling safe in school and how important it is that you just want to go to school and get an education. From a teacher's perspective, we became teachers to develop, to mentor, and to grow our young students. To ask us to hold guns is not in our nature. It is not who we are. More guns in school are not the answer. I'm proud to hear our students have solutions today about mental health, about safety, and asking for more funding to keep our schools safe. Lastly, to our youth, I would like to say this is a tough battle, and you will hear people tell you that your opinions don't matter, that you're too young, and that you don't know what you're talking about. But I'd like to tell you today not to listen to them.
So my name's Ted Wired, and I'm the founder of Golden Willow Retreat, which is an emotional sanctuary focused on grief, loss, and trauma. What we've received over the last couple months is phone calls from Florida, Las Vegas, Texas, and other places, many from young people who are just so afraid they don't want to leave home, as well as from parents who don't want their children to leave home. It's so sad that innocence should be taken. There's a piece about fear, though. I like acronyms. Face everything and recover. And so here we are facing, and all the workers, all the students who put this together, teachers, Jill, and everybody, this is perfect. Students are up here giving their voice, while the elders, are holding space so action can happen. Over the next couple years, this age group will be 16 to 22% of the votes in our country. And that's so important. So if we take fear and we face it, and then in that have the discernment of what action to take. Anger leads to resentment, that leads to rage, that leads to violence. If we stay in the place of honoring the emotion of anger that something must change, we can refine that anger into passion and allow change so that everybody can feel safe once again.
Together we pray.
Today we stand together to express our unity and our commitment.
We stand as one people against the violence that has touched every corner of every part of our country, and we commit ourselves to the journey past toward war.
My name is Michaela Lewis. I'm a graduate of Taos High School, freshman in college. Let me set the stage. The year is 1999, April 20th. Google defines this day as a massacre. Do you know that 13 people were turned into angels by bullets that day? Do you know that 20 others lived with scars, a massacre against their own skin? I tend to wonder if that morning there was a bad feeling in the air. I tend to wonder if breathing was parallel to trying to drink a thick and frozen milkshake through a straw. Was the air thick and frozen that day? What about December 14th, 2012? Newton, Connecticut isn't the coldest place on earth, but I bet that day that deep breaths turned into ice skating rinks, and words and condolences slid across them. Children lined up, hands on each other's shoulders, and tears creating canyons down their faces. Parents huddled together like newborn chicks. Sandy Hook Elementary was the star of the newscast that night. Did you know that the core of the earth and the base of stars is iron? Humans have 3 to 4 grams of iron in them, and despite the circumstances, I'd like to believe that in those 11 minutes, 26 more stars were added to our universe. I'd like to believe in the iron stardust that tangled into the mess the world has become, and yet, 5 years, 9 months, and 17 days later, 851 people were mowed down like grass on a sticky summer morning. Dewdrops became blood that day. When we don't know someone, we can't truly imagine a face, but every single one of those people had a heartbeat. In autumn, we expect leaves to fall, not bodies, but 7 a.m. bus rides could be last breaths, and walking out on your front porch can be your last view. It was Valentine's Day. 17 gunshot wounds were given instead of candygrams. I've had more trouble ordering a candygram than I would buying an AR-15. These words burn as they roll off my tongue. It is magma against my lips to know that every day in a school could be someone's last. I've only ever been to Aztec, New Mexico once to stop at a gas station. But December 7th, 2017, 2 17-year-olds lost the chance to ever see another sunrise. Rather, they burned with the sunset that night. I wonder if their memory beats against their parents' eyelids like a butterfly in a glass bottle. It was February 25th, 2015, and I was in chemistry. First, they called a lockdown. We all expected it was a drill. I sat cross-legged at my desk, the eraser tearing at the paper from too many mistakes. Duck and cover were the next words from the intercom. Huddled like sardines at the front of the classroom, we could hear marathons outside the classroom door, and none of us knew what was happening. We weren't in a classroom anymore, we were in a bunker. We had all talked about what we would do if we were ever in that situation, but we never thought it could happen to such a small town. A town where a Starbucks is the latest news and not articles of a gunman on campus. That day, no angels were made, no sunsets burned, and no new stars were created, and we were happy about it. These days, shootings on the news are a tradition. People becoming familiar with the barrel of a gun is as normal as going to sleep. We sit, we hope, and we pray, but more stars are created in a universe where we respect guns more than people. And as I go to sleep, I beg that stars won't be created by guns anymore. I beg that sunsets only burn brighter because of candygrams and not semi-automatics. And I beg that we respect the stardust in our blood instead of spilling it. Yeah.
I'll just hop on.
Like, no. You're like, no, you can't. I'm running like crazy. Everybody's like, oh, this.
So your name is?
Jill Klein.
And tell me about this demonstration today.
Well, I'm the youth minister at St. James Episcopal Church, and I'm working with teens creating a program called Common Grounds, which is a Taos teen co-op. And we have a building that's been donated to us by Kit Carson Electric. And at one of our classes, we were talking. So 2 weeks ago last night, the 7 kids that were there said, we need to do something about the gun violence issues out on the plaza. We're all on spring break. What can we do? Yeah, we are, which is why we decided to have a walk into the plaza instead of a walk out of school. And we had about 17 kids altogether who did the organizing, and some of them actually have gone on spring break with families. We actually had some students whose parents did not want them to participate in a protest, so they helped to organize but couldn't be here today because there is that fear factor of when you're standing up. There's fear about what's going to happen if somebody disagrees with you, and in today's world, what's going to happen and how they're going to let you know that they disagree. It's definitely an emotional issue, and we live in our state in New Mexico. As I understand it, has the fifth highest gun ownership per capita in the nation, and we live in a community where a lot of the people here still live off the land, and they do provide for themselves. But when we're looking at the gun violence issues, we're looking at the things that are falling in, wrong kinds of guns that are falling into wrong kinds of hands. And there's so many issues. It's not gun violence alone. There's mental health. There's education, lack of support for true lack of support for the educators in our community, not our community, in our whole nation. Education takes a back seat. And we look at the leadership of the Parkland students who have said enough is enough, and people really listening and saying, you're right, enough is enough, and never again, and not one more.
So I am Bishop Michael Bono, the ninth bishop of the Diocese of the Rio Grande, which is the whole state, believe it or not, of New Mexico and far west Texas.
And what brings you here today?
So I'm here because I was very moved by this event that the youth put together, and I wanted to just be here to support them and to make it clear as a religious person that we adults are with them and the churches are with them, and that their voice is very important at this stage.
Do you have a comment about the current issue involving gun violence?
Well, our House of Bishops just met last week. As a matter of fact, we put out a statement, and gun safety is the emphasis, and security for everyone, for students, for teachers, in every institution. That's the message. So I'm one of these people that supports the Second Amendment, but I certainly support that there is background checks and that there is more security in terms of the sale of guns, the age, and all these related questions which have to do with our well-being and our safety.
This is obviously a very divisive issue. Is there common ground?
I think the common ground is the well-being of people. That's the common ground. And I hope that the youth will lead the leaders. And I think that's really what's happening, that the youth is showing us the way.